If you have ever said, this demo sucks, chances are it's because you're watching it wrong. Here's the thing though, it's not your fault. Demos are not like psychic readings where the creator can actually read your mind. What they are really is controlled examples. The problem is that I don't think we ever really learn how to take advantage of, how to watch and take advantage of these controlled examples that we call in normal life guitar demos. And of course, as a result of that, a lot of people are disappointed by guitar demos, or worse, you base a purchase on a guitar demo and then you get the gear and then you're disappointed by the gear. When I really think the approach to the demo from the listening perspective is where the problem is. This is human nature. We watch a demo and we think of ourselves. When I hear somebody playing some gear that I'm interested in buying, I think, do I like this? Will I use this? How will I use this? Am I gonna wanna buy this pedal? Am I gonna wanna buy this guitar? Am I gonna wanna do the advice that this person says based on what I'm hearing right now? The problem is that is accounting for only my gear. And going back to this analogy, a demo is not a seance. The person on the other side of the camera can't write their demo based on what you have in your room and your amp and your cables and your settings and everything, because they don't know that. So here's the thing. A demo does not tell you if a piece of gear is going to make you sound better. It doesn't give you a look at what the results with a product or an adjustment or some advice will be. You can't make that connection. What really it is it's kind of an A-B between conditions that you're hearing but not necessarily existing in your environment that you have. So it's this option or this option, you know, clean or dirty, or amp or modeler, or overdrive on, overdrive off, boost on, boost off, pickup high, pickup low, whatever you want to call it. But it is a comparison between two conditions, but those conditions may not exist the same in your environment. So what we're listening for here when we watch a video is we're trying to understand the delta between changes, okay? We have to completely get out of our heads, if I buy that piece of equipment, that's how I'm gonna sound. Or worse yet, I don't like that sound, so I'm not gonna buy that piece of equipment. If you listen to a pickup demo, a guitar demo, a pedal demo and say, I don't like how that sounds, that doesn't really mean anything, because it's not going to sound the same for you. What you're trying to understand is the delta between the change and the other change. Let me show you. Okay, I'm about to play something. So this is where normally you, as a watcher of a video, is going to say, I don't like that guitar tone, and then immediately shut off. Or, yeah, this doesn't apply to me, and immediately shut off. I want you to suspend that for just a minute. I don't care if you like the tone you're about to hear, but what I want to do is demonstrate a change, okay? So let's just do... Okay, so let's pretend, for example, that we're demonstrating the dynamics of a pickup. So we've got an overdriven tone, we've got a humbucker here. This is one of our Super 8 humbuckers, and we turned the volume from 10, where it was pretty crunchy, down to about 7, and it cleaned up a lot, right? Now, you're gonna say, that pickup doesn't have enough whatever for me. I don't like how that pickup sounds. That's not the point. The point is, does the pickup in your guitar do that? Does it do what this does? Is this something that you're looking for, right? The rest of the tone at this point doesn't matter. We're just trying to understand the delta between a change that you are proposing to make to your instrument. This is one of those things where no matter who you are, as a person who makes a demo video or any kind of video like this, you can never win, because a person is going to say, well, I want clean sounds. I want dirty sounds. Why do you never play clean? I can't hear what the pickup actually sounds like if you play clean, which is totally not true. And we could get into that on a whole nother ball of wax. But the point here is when you listen to a demo, it doesn't matter if you like the tone or not. It's what problem you're trying to solve, and does the product that you're trying to listen to, does it solve that problem? You could probably make the guitar sound however you want once you get it in your guitar, in your environment, as long as the product, whether it's a pedal, an amp, or a pickup, has the dynamics and the adjustability tone-wise, the delta between various things to be able to do what you want it to do. And then you can put it in behind your amp, you know, and play the way you play, at the volume you play at and whatever, and make it do it. But it's about the delta between the changes, not the actual tone that you're hearing. So the other problem with demos is the way I approach the guitar doesn't really speak to the actual gear itself. This is a little bit of an elementary example, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. We're going to turn the volume all the way back up to 10, okay? And let's play with a pick first. We'll just play a very short. All right. Now, if we don't change anything, everything changes. And everybody's like, the tone is in the hands, which is also stupid. But in this case, my approach to the instrument has completely changed the tone. What you have is same gear, no settings changes, but a different sound. And I know that was really elementary, but I know that you have listened to demos on the internet where there are really, really good guitar players that can completely change how a guitar sounds with just the way they approach the instrument, no other settings. And this is the problem. This is why demos break our brain, because normally, maybe not when you watch my videos, but normally the guitar player is way better than me. And they can do things with the guitar that I cannot do. And so if I rely just on what they can do with their guitar and don't understand the changes that are actually happening to the instrument itself, whether it be the modification with a new pickup or a new pot or a new cap or an adjustment of a pickup or a setup difference or a different amp or a different profile or whatever. Thank you. You're napping so hard against the tripod that you moved me. Nap harder, bro. So, I don't even remember where I was. So, if that's the case, if demos at this point in the video, like what we've been talking about so far, make it seems like a demo is useless, well, not quite. There's a few things that a good guitar demo can do for you, whether it be, like I said, a pickup or a pedal or an amp or whatever, or a guitar. It'll do two things. One, we mentioned the delta. So it will give you a difference between what you already know and what you are hearing, okay? So like we just looked at a few minutes ago where we have this pickup that has great clarity with overdrive, and then when we turn it down, it cleans up real nice, and you're like, ooh, mine doesn't do that. See, that's useful, right? Whether you like the actual tone in the moment or not doesn't matter, but that delta between what you're familiar with and what your guitar does and what you're hearing in a video, okay, now that kind of matters. And the other thing you can tell is overall character. Now you got to be careful with this one, but overall character is a thing. Like, you can tell when a pickup is muddy. You can tell when a pickup is really, really brittle, right? On the extremes. Now, we know there's going to be people that jump in the comments and say, well, all you do is you adjust your tone knob. I agree, on the amp or on the guitar, right? And that's exactly my point, is if you've got something that's completely on the extremes, that's one thing. Like a very inexpensive pickup on a neck humbucker that's really muddy, and no matter what you do, you can't get rid of it. And then you hear it like this humbucker and you go, oh, wow, that's actually really good. Again, doesn't matter whether you like how much overdrive there is or what tone, the actual tone, but the overall aspects of the pickup. Does it clean up? Does it have good clarity when you strum it with high gain and you can still hear all the notes? Is it too boomy overall, right? You can kind of tell the extremes. Now, the fine little nuances that you and I are always looking for when we're trying to shop for gear, those are things that we can adjust in our environment. We just really want to kind of narrow out kind of narrow down and get rid of those extremes that we don't like. There's something really important about this though. You need to be playing your own gear. If you don't know what your rig sounds like, then no demo is going to help you. Because when you add a pedal, when you add a new amp, when you add a new guitar, when you add new pickups to your guitar, if you don't have a good grasp of how your rig sounds already, then it's a crapshoot. You're like shooting in the dark for what the results will be making that change. Because all you're trying to understand is what you're familiar with versus the change that you're about to make. And if you're not familiar with what you already have, you might as well, again, shooting in the dark. So here's how I want you, do whatever you want, but this is how I would suggest that you listen to demos from now on. Don't worry about whether you like the tone or not. Understand like what we talked about, the contrast between the sounds. So let's do this again. So we could use, let's use that example, that little tone snippet that we just have there for a couple of different things, right? We could talk about the cleanup part. That's pretty nice. We could also talk about the clarity with gain. So hear all the notes. That's pretty nice. Let's see, what else? Pick attack. So something like where you have no other settings changed, but you can push the pickup into overdrive, or you can kind of just lay off and let it still be clean when you're on the edge like that. Those are very, very valuable things to know, for example, when you're shopping for a pickup, right? This one does that. Does yours do that? Make those comparisons. Now, for everybody who always says, you don't play clean and so I can't hear what the actual pickup sounds like, that is actually 100% wrong. And I'll tell you why. Most pickups, they can be very, very inexpensive, will sound like an electric guitar, right? And you can adjust the treble and the bass on your amp and it will do things when it's clean, and you can basically make any pickup sound like a decent electric guitar. But because of how electricity works, it starts to come apart and get worse as you drive it. The whole idea behind pushing an amp into overdrive is that we have this pickup that we're making electricity and we're pushing everything beyond what it can do, and that's this sound. So, while most pickups will be pretty basic fine at low volumes and with no drive, there are a lot of pickups that sound terrible. When you put drive to them. Because when you start to goof up that signal, then the finer nuances start to go away. A really good guitar pickup, for example, will still maintain those nuances. So you really want to hear that. You want to hear, because if it doesn't do it there, then you have a very one-dimensional guitar. You could have if I did every video totally clean and I never used overdrive, then I could show you a very one-dimensional pickup that was great clean, but you had no idea in any other circumstance. So now you have a guitar that you know does one thing, but you're not sure about the rest of it. And the point of it is that most pickups, there's a lot of pickups that don't do that very well. And of course, that's something that's really important to me personally, so that's why we like to showcase it. So think about that too. Understand what you're hearing when you're listening. Demos are not a crystal ball. They're not something that will give you some sort of, I can't read your mind and be like, this is how you set your guitar, and therefore I know exactly what you need, so I'm going to show you what you need, and then you'll make a perfect purchase every time. That's not how it works. That's not how demos work. They don't replace your personal experience, because I know that you've spent some time in a forum with 3 different people that bought the same pedal, bought the same pickups, bought the same guitar, bought the same amp with wildly different experiences. It's because they use it differently. So, since neither of us know how each other uses our stuff, just understand the delta. Understand what you're familiar with, and understand where you want to be, or understand what you're hearing and decide, you know what? I like the difference. I'm going to give it a shot in my environment. If this video helped you at all, if it helps you save some money and be like, you know what? Or if it makes you a little more adventurous with what you want to try, then get in the comments and let me know how you approach this, right? Because everybody approaches what they hear on the internet a little bit different. Of course, there's going to be the YouTube compression guys, and there's going to be the play only clean guys, and there's going to be like, oh, that all is a thing. But let me know in the comments how it affects you personally, how you use it, and what parameters you use to make purchasing decisions when you hear something on YouTube. Do me a favor, go to DylanTalksTone.com. You could actually purchase a guitar just like this one. A couple of different colors, a couple of different pickup combinations, or this exact guitar right here is available as well. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you in the next video.